All right, more good news for the 49ers in this update. Eric Armstead and George Odom were both back to full participation in practice today. So not just limited participants here during the most strenuous 49ers practice of the week. They're both full participants for this football team. So every single time that I've come on with an update here over the past couple days, I've said this is the healthiest the 49ers have been in a long time, and every single time it's true all over again. They're a little bit healthier today than they were yesterday, a little bit healthier right now based on what we know than they were right when practice started, when we saw both Armstead and Odom out there. Now we know they were full participants, so it's big against the Packers because Green Bay can run. Aaron Jones, I think it's 4 straight 100-yard rushing games, 118 against the Cowboys. Can't have some fun unless you stop the run. And Eric Armstead may be the most valuable run-stopping piece in football. After they moved him to defensive tackle in 2021, the year the 49ers beat the Packers in the playoffs, Eric Armstead helped push the 49ers to the number 1 run defense ranking. And that was a big part of beating Green Bay. And if they're going to beat Green Bay here at Levi's on Saturday, then good run defense is, again, going to be a big part of that. George Odom, they're going to have to make a roster move to activate him from IR, but it looks like he's on track here in his practice window. But the 53 right now is full, so we'll see what the corresponding move for the San Francisco 49ers is. As I reported earlier, Logan Ryan, Dre Greenlaw, both out there, limited participants at practice. That is big for the San Francisco 49ers, especially Greenlaw, because you're especially against an offense as adaptable as the Green Bay Packers, where you have a couple tight ends that can do a lot of damage, including Luke Musgrave, the really speedy rookie. You're going to want to make sure that your speedy linebackers are available for this game. And Logan Ryan, it's good quality safety depth for the 49ers, a position that's seen a lot of injuries. Jair Brown, Deshaun Gibson, both full participants at practice today, like all those other 49ers who have returned. But you want to be as insulated as possible if you are San Francisco. So they're looking great from that perspective. There's no talk coming out of the 49ers building right now. There's talk coming out of the Packers building. Devontae Wyatt, their defensive tackle, today was saying that Purdy is guaranteed, Brock Purdy, the 49ers quarterback, is guaranteed to throw an interception if he gets pressured in this game. And, I mean, besides being brazen, it's just factually untrue. The most efficient quarterback this year against pressure has been Brock Purdy. So 15 touchdowns, 3 interceptions against the blitz this year. Against pressure, which is not the same as a blitz, Brock Purdy is over 8 yards per attempt. Ever since week 9, I put this stat out a couple days ago, when Jordan Love turned it around for Green Bay, the 2 most efficient quarterbacks in terms of yards per attempt against pressure have been Brock Purdy and Jordan Love. So it's funny because the 49ers are only talking up Jordan Love, I think, as you should. While the Green Bay Packers, we've heard some from their media, and then from a player in Devontae Wyatt, we've heard some denigrating comments. I think that Green Bay knows that Brock Purdy is really good. If you watch the tape then and you look at the numbers, you understand that they're 10-point underdogs. It wouldn't surprise me if Green Bay is just trying to stir the pot a little bit, poke the bear, if you will, try to ruffle and upset the status quo, because the status quo has the 49ers as 10-point favorites in this game. I wouldn't look much more into any of the bluster and the talk before this game. Other than that, I mean, I could go into this further when we discuss this game this week, but Patrick Peterson of Pittsburgh in week 1 guaranteed that he'd intercept Brock Purdy. He didn't intercept Brock Purdy, and the 49ers blew out the Steelers. So I think teams realize the 49ers are really good, and they're just trying to find any edge they can, get into their head any way they can, but it hasn't worked in the past, and I don't think that this kind of talk is going to work for Green Bay this time. As far as a blueprint to beat the 49ers, well, if you're Green Bay, it's going to be really hard to copy whatever the Ravens did, because Baltimore's the number 1 defense in the league, and the Packers are the number 27 defense in the league per DVOA. Christian McCaffrey today in the locker room talked about just how consistent of a vibe it's been all year. It's not like any more juiced up or any less juiced up than it was in week 12 and week 13. The 49ers have kept it business-like all year. He says that there's been a sense of urgency since OTAs, and that's a good way to bring this full circle. Remember OTAs, we reported how Christian McCaffrey was just sprinting around and Energizer Bunny-like stuff from a all-pro, maybe future Hall of Famer Christian McCaffrey. He didn't care that it was OTAs. He was going to be out there busting his ass. Well, McCaffrey, now he gets to walk the walk. He's been walking the walk the whole time, but I guess he gets to talk the talk after he walked the walk. He was talking about how consistent the 49ers have been energy-wise, and he has been consistent energy-wise all season. This team is in a business-like state as it is gunning for that 6th Super Bowl trophy. Trent Williams also talked today. Trent Williams in front of his 2 lockers, Silverback on one of them and Williams on the other locker. Trent Williams was as insightful as always. He wants Brock Purdy to just keep up the magic, keep on showing that you don't have to be a high draft pick to be one of the best players in the National Football League. Trent Williams said, by the way, that he's feeling physically as good as he has this season. The bye week did wonders for him. So we've heard Nick Bosa say that. We've heard Chase Young say that. Other side of the football, we heard Trent Williams say that. Remember against the Packers in the playoffs a couple years ago, they sent Trent on that motion. He's a special player, right? That kind of size, strength combination shouldn't be able to run and move the way that Trent Williams does. But against the Packers, he went on that motion, and maybe we'll see a little bit more of the same, because Green Bay has really struggled to defend the run this season, and I think that's going to be a big part of the 49ers formula to beat the Packers. And then Brock Purdy talked today as well. Brock Purdy really was complimentary about his sit down with Steve Young. You've probably seen that circulating on social media. I said Steve asked him some really, really good questions and got him thinking a little bit. And Brock Purdy says that he appreciates the perspective of where he's at thanks to his conversation with Steve Young. And it's one thing about the 49ers is at times like these in January, hosting the playoff game, you can dig into the past, right? Steve Young is there as a support system for this team. There's legends who have walked this path before for the 49ers, and Brock Purdy seems to be taking full advantage of that. The 1995 49ers, by the way, and this is a worse memory for Steve Young and the team, but that team, the year after they won their most recent Super Bowl, they lost to the Packers at home, Candlestick Park, divisional round. It was an upset. Brett Favre played a great game. The thing about that game, though, is that the 49ers had lost Ricky Watters in free agency to the Philadelphia Eagles, and they didn't have a rushing attack. So because they couldn't run the ball against Gilbert Brown, Reggie White, Santana Dotson, those guys, the 49ers, Young had to drop back 65 times, and he just got pummeled. And whenever you drop back 65 times, you're not balanced enough to perform, especially against an elite defensive line. The Packers just pinned their ears back. So the moral of the story is Ricky Watters was a great dual-threat running back. He was Christian McCaffrey for those 49ers. Well, the 49ers now actually have Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey's not with the Eagles. He's not anywhere else. He's here with the 49ers, so they should have the balance. And plus, the Packers don't have Reggie White and Gilbert Brown. But the 49ers should have the balance to beat Green Bay as long as Purdy plays that solid game to unlock what the offense wants to do. That's your 49ers update. We'll talk to you soon.